The whole season turned to Scammer Island and the reunion is no different. Girl, get off my screen. You're not exclusive. And guess what? That's okay. Because y'all are scammers. Oh, reflection. Okay. Why are we asking? We already know the answer. It was hell on earth. Do we care? Absolutely not. It is what it is. It was the Hunger Games, all right? You're not lying, but just be quiet for now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to discuss Love Island, the reunion. I'm so happy it's over. To me, this reunion was not about finding love. It was about fake apology, scammers on display, Andy Cohen asking the right questions that Ariana never could. Listen, off the back, I'm so tired of these scammers. I'm so tired. I just saw fake apologies, people that couldn't hold themselves accountable. We already know the whole season turned to Scammer Island and the reunion is no different. Just stick around, hang with me for a little bit. I'm gonna just do a little deep dive on this reunion. Who came clean, who lied, and who just had me yelling at my TV. Before we get into this mess, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's just close this chapter on up. Let's go. Off the back, here are my initial thoughts. To be fair, this reunion had some good parts. Some other parts could have been an email, could have been a voicemail, could have been a message in a bottle. Shout out to production for giving us so many side quests, side conversations with so many side characters that we didn't need. When it comes down to the host, I think Ariana and Andy Cohen did a good job. But to be honest, I was so happy that Andy decided to go host this reunion because Ariana, baby, I'm sorry, but you have been very biased in the press. Very biased. He's not afraid to ask the hard questions, awkward questions, salacious questions. Real quick, can we talk about the seating chart? I'm a little confused. Can we just talk about how Huda was seated next to the host, but the actual winners were seated after her? Listen, I'm a Bravo girly. Usually those that have the biggest storylines, that brought the most drama, well, okay, I can guess why they probably put Huda there. But honestly, it was just kind of weird. If I was Amaya and Bryan, I'd be a little salty. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the winner of this season. I should be front row and center next to the host. They had Amaya and Bryan just shoved down the couch like they were some supporting actors. Imagine winning the whole show and then just sitting on the end of the couch like a bunch of background extras and side characters on your own show that you won. All right, so it's time to go into our final four couple. So Andy's asking Amaya and Bryan, hey, you guys are long distance. How are you going to make it work? Bryan said that his mother met Amaya and she was crying. She was so sad when Amaya was leaving. And I'm like, Bryan, don't even bring your mom into this. I already see what you're doing. Don't bring Mamacita into this, please. So Andy brings up the whole cheating allegations of it all and talks about the whole lapse of judgment. Bryan is giving a PR answer. Bryan noticeably looks very guilty. Andy asks Chris if he's seen anything. Chris is like, I didn't see ish. Meanwhile, you have Amaya over here cackling, laughing. I'm like, Amaya, what's so funny? Are you okay? Amaya's just giggling, just trying to save face. Yeah, this is something that we definitely spoke about. I wouldn't be with anybody that wouldn't respect me. Our relation dynamic is very healthy and great. Amaya, thank you, but I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm not buying what you're selling, girl. I'm sorry. So in conclusion, they talk about how they're confident in their relationship. They're growing. But you guys already know how the cookie crumbles. Their fairy tale is done. The cookie has crumbled. The story is over. They were doomed from the beginning. Bryan needed to make sure that he had a seat in this villa. Amaya was a little desperado. That's it. All right. I'm going to be a little petty for a second, but y'all, since Huda was laughing so hysterically during everybody's beat, I couldn't help but to notice her styling. I'm sorry, but what was Huda wearing? I looked up her dress deets and apparently she was wearing Roberto Cavalli. No. If you're going to be the season villain, at least serve a look. You can't be the face of the season and the star that everyone's talking about, and then you showed up looking like your glam team quit on you or probably sabotaged you. The dress, frumpy. Why is it so ill-fitting? The hair. Apparently she had Kim Kardashian's hairstylist. That could not have been the intended look. I'm sorry. I was looking at the TV and I'm like, Lord, can somebody give this girl an oil blot sheet? What is going on? They couldn't touch her up in between sets. It doesn't take away that she is a pretty girl, but I was like, dang. Hairstylist, wardrobe, makeup, they failed her. Moving on. So scammers number 2 take the stage, Iris and Pepe. Iris claimed that they're exclusive and they have different definitions of dating. Andy asks what's their next step, and they're both giggling and laughing about their perspective on what dating looks like. I'm sorry, but that's not a laughing matter. And then Iris says, you have to like ask someone to be your girlfriend. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment because these two did not come prepared to be in sync, to have the same storyline before the reunion. Ariana asks Iris, do you want to be his girlfriend? Iris stuttering. Pepe starts talking. Pepe is rambling. They sounded like two people that had no idea what relationship they're in. If you can't define exclusive the same way, then maybe you guys are not exclusive. You're not exclusive. And guess what? That's okay. Because y'all are scammers. Iris made it clear that she closed that chapter with TJ. Pepe made it clear that he closed that door with Hannah. All right, so where is Iris and Pepe now? Broken up. Are we surprised? No. The way that they couldn't get their story together, it was evident that it was giving situationship. We already know scammers' love stories don't last, so let's just move on. All right, they pan over to Chris and Huda. Andy's like, yeah, so it looks like your fiery final date went up in flames. Yeah, sure did. He brings up the awkward moment with the singers singing Moon River. Huda's saying, I thought that was my sister. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm trying to be nice, but are the brain cells not connecting? Or you're just trying to be funny, but you're just horrible at making jokes. Andy's like, listen, it's obviously awkward between you guys. How was it seeing each other? Huda, fine. Chris, weird. Huda, I'm fine. Chris, very weird on my end. Andy with his little cue cards, very weird. Just weird. Andy asked him, how do you feel? How does your mom feel about this? Chris, obvious answer. His mom is happy how things planned out because they're not together anymore. I'm looking at Chris' face. Chris is not here for the BS. Chris is being honest. No, things are not great between us. Meanwhile, what does Huda do? Dodge, downplay, and stonewall. She's trying to be very composed, very demure. Her team probably came together. They're like, listen, no emotions, just relax, deflect, dodge, downplay. Chris is at least admitting the tension, admitting that things are just not fine. She's just trying to save face and protect her ego. So Andy pivots to asking her questions regarding the comments that she made at the press about Chris having a wandering eye. Andy's like, so what do you mean by that? She's like, honestly, I'm just not angry about it. We're just not a good match, and that's okay. Meanwhile, everybody backstage is laughing. Ariana asks Chris, how do you feel about Huda talking about you in the press? Where do you guys stand? Would you guys be friends? Chris said he doesn't respect her behavior, especially with the things that she said about him in the Call Her Daddy interview. She annihilated him. She did not have to talk about him the way that she did. And I don't blame him for wanting to keep his distance and not wanting to have not even a friendship with her. Oh, y'all, get this part. So then Kristen tells us that Huda had a whole month to apologize, but she waited 2 to 3 days before the reunion to try to smooth things over with him. It's giving classic housewives behavior. Kind of like Kyle Richards, she will call or text a few days before the reunion and just try to smooth things over before they get in front of the camera. Ooh. And here is the kicker. Huda herself says, and let me read this out verbatim, because Huda says, I called him. It was weighing heavy on my mind. I started seeing more and more hatred towards Chris on my For You page. She wanted to call him and just reach out and say, hey, I'm grateful for our time in the villa. I know things didn't work out. I personally apologize. If there's anything I've done, I just didn't like the hate he was getting. I felt awful about it. Well. Oh, really? Really? I'm gonna come back to that. Ask Huda if she's currently dating anyone. We already know it's Louis from Too Hot to Handle. Also the same Louis that was on The Perfect Match. She's being very coy about it, but it's so evident. We know who it is. You've been on the red carpet with him. Girl, you're on Getty Images. And then she's saying that she's not allowed to speak on it Netflix. Y'all know about this.
Who had been saying that? Who said that?
Can we just talk a little bit about selective apologies? Huda noticed all the hatred that Chris was getting on her For You page, and she wanted to address it. But you didn't notice any of the hatred that Olandria and Chelley were getting on your For You page? Chelley and Olandria are the stars of the show. If anything, they are more highlighted than Chris. So, to me, that was phony baloney. You can run to save face for a man, but when your friends are dragged, you're silent. When it comes to having concern for women that showed up for you time and time again, you have nothing to say. Okay. From an outside looking in, it's quite evident to me that Huda's loyalty comes with conditions. She protects her image when it benefits her. If it's a woman involved, oh no, you better get to the back of the line. All right, moving on to the actual couple that we care about. Nic and Olandria look flawless. They looking like champagne on ice, okay? Nic handsome, sharp, Olandria just glistening, looking like an actual winner. She looked exquisite. She looked expensive. These two can sell me anything. I'm sorry. The current status, they're dating. They're getting to know one another. They're watering their plant. They are having fun. They're enjoying themselves. Nic says whatever Olandria wants, he will make it happen. I'm like, I know that's right. Ariana asks, what do you guys think about the haters? Olandria is like, listen, we already have a huge fan base. But oh my goodness, the other fan bases, you guys love me. And I'm like, yeah. Whose other fan base have been terrorizers on the internet? We already know who it is. Then Ariana says, oh, Sierra won't be joining us tonight because she left the show. I'm sorry, what? No, she did not. Let me correct this narrative right now. She was removed. She was kicked out. She was dismissed. She was exiled from the island. Anyway, since Sierra got her walking papers, she went to Greece, posted up these little weird tickety-talkies, trying to get attention. Because Sierra thought that Nic was going to leave the show and they were going to like do a part 2. No, ma'am. No. Nic made it crystal clear. He doesn't plan on reaching out to her. Nic basically said, the door is closed. The door is closed. He's not here to play games with a girl that is clearly an attention seeker and who had the nerve to block his own sister. His sister, like, who does that? Instead of this girl taking accountability when she left the villa and taking racial sensitivity courses, what did she do? Post on Instagram. Post on the tickety talk. No, girl, you were removed because you said derogatory remarks. That's it. She was too busy trying to create a victim or a villain narrative on social media instead of addressing her actual behavior. Girl, do your internal work. I'm with Nic on this. They always say sometimes you don't burn bridges. There are some bridges that just need to be burned. Set it on fire. Andy's like, well, meeting you and seeing things, clearly things worked out. Thank you, Andy. We don't care anymore. Move on. All right. So Taylor and Clark, Chelley and Ace come out. They look amazing. Chelley, she looked beautiful in that color. Clark, she looked great. Clark looked like a housewife in training. Andy dives in talking about the curse of exclusivity, being that couples that get exclusive, they end up getting exiled from the island. Chelley points out that the season was focused on favorites. Austin's by the stage is like, yeah, by the system you designed. You're not lying, but just be quiet for now. They ask Taylor if he's torn between Olandria and Clark. He says yes. And I'm like, please, Taylor, just stop lying. Stop. Olandria thinks that Taylor and her were being a slow burn, but she had no idea until she got out the villa that he actually was not physically attracted to her. Inside the villa, he was doing all the chivalrous things, but really, we already saw him talking to Ace and letting it known to the other guys that he's just not really feeling her. So he was putting up a massive front. Olandria just talked about how the editing made her look desperate, like she was chasing. And also, yes, did it look like that? Absolutely. Where a lot of us, including me, screaming at our TV like, Olandria, no, girl, no. No. Ariana asked Taylor if he should apologize for not being honest. He's talking about he was waiting for the right time. And I was just like, Taylor, it's been a month. And didn't you spend a weekend with Olandria in the Hamptons? What better time was it than there? Again, I'm looking at body language. Taylor starts apologizing and his eyes darting all over the place. He looks visibly uncomfortable. He had the nerve to say, we grew so close so fast. You are my dog in here and you still my dog. What? You can see everybody's face like, sir, this is not the apology that you think it is. Ace jumps in. Do we clap? Thank you, Ace, because that was awkward. Thank you so much, Taylor, for giving us no accountability. He's doing damage control. He's not taking accountability. There's a difference. And also, did we not watch Taylor be coached? He had to be coached by Ace on how to treat a lady. At the end of the day, he just used her to just have a seat in the house. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with Taylor. I don't understand how Taylor doesn't even care to get ahead of the narrative and at least try to make himself look positive, try to make himself look remorseful. Huda, we know she a liar, but she came PR trained and ready. He doesn't even fake it. Is he arrogant? Is he prideful? Is he stubborn? Is he the baby of the family? And honestly, I think he's all of that. I just think maybe he's just used to being praised in his Oklahoma bubble, and he cannot fathom being the villain. Me? But I'm the main character. I generally think that Taylor thinks that he's the main character in everyone else's story, and that's why accountability feels so foreign to him. He is clearly spoiled, and there's nothing wrong with spoiling your children. But when you become a spoiled, rotten apple, that's when things go left. So instead, who do we get? We get Taylor on national TV, just doubling down instead of just growing up. And it's just, that's a hard sight to see. He has a lot of growing up to do. So Chelley and Ace have their beat. They look amazing. They bring up the whole like, oh, people think they're scamming because they met each other. Chelley was being sarcastic. She's like, yeah, we planned it. We planned to beat out 500,000 people in applications, to go through 10 interviews so we can cahoots and be on the show together. I'm just over the scammer narrative. Yes, they met each other. They became social media friends. That's it. Of course, he liked pictures going back. That's what people do. That's what guys that you meet in public and they become lurkers on your social media. I think it's just coincidence. I don't care to even dive into it. And he brings up, why do you think America rated you guys so low? Chelley noticed that it was soon after the Rate Your Heart challenge and the Stand Your Business. She emphasized in those moments is when she knows that a narrative is being spun around that were pinpointing her as the mean girl. She had every right to share her grievances. She had every right to feel uncomfortable. She had every right to be honest about someone that she considered her friend has been moving very funny for a very long time. I just hate when production editing, they remove all of the context. Production knew exactly what narrative they were creating with that edit. They know that controversy drives engagement, even at the expense of fair representation. The audience ends up believing a completely manufactured story. That is the part I just can't get behind. And this is how I know they were playing games. Even when it came to the Love Island app, they would show, hey, who's signing you on, Chelley or Huda? Why? Like, why are you guys doing that? They would intentionally show a picture of Chelley where she looked upset, but Huda, she's smiling. So you can't miss me with this. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. So they asked Chelley and Ace, where are they at now? They're in love. They're not in a relationship. I don't know. Maybe I'm a millennial. Maybe I'm old. Maybe I'm more... Maybe I was going to say maybe I'm traditional, but traditional can be taken out of context nowadays. Maybe I'm old school. Is this a Gen Z thing? I'm used to people dating, coming together, dating, exclusive, boyfriend and girlfriend, and then they exchange I love you. So I don't know. Whatever. And also I have a question. Why do they keep casting unseasoned men? This is Ace's first girlfriend. Ace never had a girlfriend. Chelley finally was able to say out loud that Huda weaponized those challenges against her, on how those two isolated incidents where she was upset were taken out of context, weaponized against her, like she's a mean girl. Meanwhile, you have Huda giving you the perfect demonstration of how to project, how to scapegoat, how to deflect from the problems that you created onto others, and just walk away. Huda had the worst behavior all season. Yet Chelley and Olandria were the only ones that were held accountable. This is not just editing. Let's call it for what it is. It's racial bias. It's another unfortunate example in the media, in this case reality TV, of how Black women are labeled unfairly for asserting themselves, for speaking up for themselves, explaining how we feel. Chelley and Olandria were left carrying the mean girl label, while the true instigator escaped scrutiny. Huda has been terrorizing everybody in that house, stressing everybody out. And meanwhile, these two girls were slandered. At the end of the day, Chelley and Olandria were forced to carry a label that never belonged to them. And I'm happy at least this reunion finally cracked this false narrative. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. So after we had that good Chelley and Olandria and a Huda moment, why did they bring out Casa? They decided to bring out the Casa people for what? For why? The Casa Armor people before the rest of the OGs for some odd reason. And they got Charlie, Hannah, Bella, Jeremiah sitting backstage. We start off with an awkward moment. Andy asking Austin, "Oh, Austin, you were in the villa from day one. The real bombshell was your body count. How do you distract yourself from your body count?" Austin talking about, "I forget about that." And I'm just like, what type of red pill rhetoric is this? What? TDLR, Austin and Jaden, they left the villa together. They're not a thing. She wanted him to be honest regarding being intimate with other people. Austin, all right, what's your response? What you have to say? Austin, malfunctioning, glitching, eyes glazed, cells not connecting. Are the lights on inside the house? Are you on low battery? Are you tired? Do you need a protein shake? Look, I get what Jaden's saying. At the end of the day, it's about respect and honesty. But I got some real questions. Why was Austin even casted? All right, so we got Coco on stage. Coco looks very beautiful. But Coco, I am disappointed. Coco, I am disappointed in you. You and accountability have a hard time. Coco on a podcast making side comments about Olandria, saying she's standoffish. It wasn't just the podcast. She was liking disparaging tweets or posts or TikToks about her. Olandria said that she didn't appreciate the comments that Coco made about her on a podcast, which I completely agree. She just wanted Coco to talk about her experience. And if you're going to talk about me, talk about my true character. And I like that Chelley stepped in and was like, yeah, you were feeding into the narrative. There was already a hate train on Olandria and I. And Andy's like, who else played into it? That's why Andy's a perfect person to have at this reunion. Coco starts talking and Andy cuts her off to kind of move the topic to something else. Coco puts her hand in the air like, no, I want to talk. I'm like, girl. Andy ends up cutting Coco off again mid-sentence. I went straight to Olandria. And I'm like, girl, you don't cut off Andy Cohen. Girl, you're not going to get invited to the party. You're not going to get on the guest list. Girl, do you want to get blackballed? Coco, you got to work on your disposition. We got to work on your attitude. You are too beautiful to be going down like this. Let me look at my notes. They had the nerve to interrupt us with Zach and Bryan. Do we care? Absolutely not. Zach has been running his mouth on TikTok, doing interviews. He's basically low-key calling Bryan a scammer. It takes one fraud to know a fraud. Yeah, Bryan, you got this cute Disney edit, but let's not forget, he came in for Andreina. That didn't work out. He went for Jaden. Jaden rejected him. Amaya was his only option to stay in the villa. Amaya did not have the best deck in her cards, but hey, it worked out for her at the end. We have another unnecessary segment. They bring up the whole anonymous message. During the Stay in Your Business challenge, Grayson finds out that Huda was the one who wrote the note calling out Pepe. They ask Grayson, all right, Grayson, how do you feel? Grayson's like, obviously she was upset. She's trying to play nice and play politics. Like, yeah, meow, 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 meow. Huda gives her this recycled apology script. You're amazing. You're mature. I didn't mean to hurt you. I love you. You're great. Girl, we've heard this before. Just wants to know, why didn't Pepe, tell her sooner about how he really feels? I just find it a little suspicious. Pepe, you were with Grayson for 2 weeks. And you didn't really tell this girl how she feels? Poor Grayson, she was just a seat filler. Pepe damn near had 6 girlfriends. And Pepe was trying to keep his seat in a villa. It is what it is. It was the Hunger Games, all right? Okay, they show the unseen footage of Huda and Chelley talking about Chris like he's timeshare property. I don't know. It was weird. Here's the most interesting thing to me about this entire conversation. It's the beginning. Huda approaches Chelley. Hey, girl, come sit down. I want to talk to you. She says to her, you're either going to be happy about it or B, what the F? So that already tells me all I need to know. If you're going to start a conversation and preface it with, you're either going to be happy or be pissed, you already know you're being messy. You already know you crossing a line. Huda was not vindicated through that clip. No, absolutely not. Huda, let's choose each other so we can both have time with Chris. She's like, I love you. I love you. When I'm talking about it, I think it could work. This would be a good idea. This girl is literally having a one-sided conversation. And if you pay attention to what Chelley's saying, she's like, we will see. It could work. She's not giving confident responses. Like, yeah, girl, sure. Read the room. I've seen so many discourse online like, yeah, she made perfect sense and Chelley agreed to it. People can say things, but their body language says something completely different. But Huda knew she was doing. She was using that fake sisterhood energy. I love you, girl, but really it's just masked as manipulation. You're just trying to coerce someone into how you feel or what you're thinking or what you want to do. You're trying to disarm them. Huda is trying to be slick, saying maybe there's a misunderstanding. Huda's trying to be slick, saying, oh, I moved on past that. You clearly got your happy ending, and that's clear what you should be focused on. Girl, don't try to wrap up the conversation because the heat's on you. Don't. Just her just trying to be condescending to deflect the attention on her and her guilt and her wrongdoings all in the same conversation. I'm like, please. And this entire time, I'm looking at everybody else's face. Clark is like, girl, please wrap this up. Zach sleeping backstage. Everybody's very fidgety looking at each other like, y'all hear this? Y'all hear this BS? I am proud of Chelley for sticking up for herself, saying, hey, when I came out the villa, things were cool. You on this podcast, it made it seem like you had these bullies that were after you. She obviously made it seem like Chelley was a bully and trying to antagonize her. You apologetic one time, then just a flip-flopper. She said you added so many fuels to this fire that are already out there. As a viewer, the whole conversation between Huda and Chelley, it was very insincere. And someone might say, oh my God, why didn't Chelley speak up to her? Why didn't Chelley say anything? Have you not seen how volatile this girl has been acting in the villa? Everybody's been on survival mode, walking on eggshells because they don't want Hurricane Huda. I can understand some reasoning of why Chelley didn't defend herself as much as people think that she should have. Because when you have to deal with somebody that emotionally unstable, you're trying to survive. So next is Hannah and Charlie's montage. This was another dragged out segment, but if they like it, I don't love it. Today, Charlie is singing a different tune. Charlie's in a good state. He has no negativity towards Hannah. Just a week with him being out the villa, seeing Hannah move forward without hesitation to Pepe made him a little sick. Ouch. Day one, they went on a date. Day two, they're being intimate. And honestly, he has every right to be a little salty. He got dumped for exploring, even though he was exploring. His dumping and Jeremiah's dumping just made no sense. As he's talking, I'm seeing Amaya's making all these faces. Then Charlie, rightfully so, brings her up, says that Amaya's vote was very hurtful to him. They thought they were friends. And while he's talking, she looks visibly uncomfortable. It's so obvious that she hates being called out. She's a Huda number 2. I will not elaborate. Then Amaya gives a weak apology. I'm happy that Charlie clocked Amaya. She displayed a lot of bad behavior throughout this season, but it made me wonder, are they going to show Amaya snapping at Chelley, just doing the most when she was talking to Ace? Probably not. They're not going to bring it up because she got the Disney princess edit, so you know how that is. He felt like him and Hannah had a strong connection, which they did. And he said respectfully, Taylor should have went home. They asked if he would ever rekindle with Hannah. No, that door is closed. Then we get some unseen footage of the girls deliberating. They decide to keep 2 girls, Amaya and Iris, that have not fully explored versus the one who is moving fast with everyone. It's strategic, but it's harsh. I feel like their decision made no sense. It was not justifiable. But at the end of the day, it was gameplay. At the end of the unseen footage, Hannah just starts crying. And I'm like, oh my God. But can we be honest? Hannah played herself. She expressed that she wants to test her connection, even though things were going good. Self-sabotage, I must say. Then as soon as Pepe came in, he pulled her for a chat. Immediately, she's straddling him. As if Charlie's not even there. From the villa's point of view, they just didn't take her seriously. It's like, you're with Charlie, who's into you. And the fact that she told Charlie you have nothing to worry about. Hannah, I like Charlie and Hannah individually, but Hannah, glad you're doing well. But girl, I hope you learned your lesson. So they bring out OGs, Bella and Jeremiah. Oh, they bring out Bella first. People were talking about her dress looking like an African net sponge. Yeah, I see it. It was given that, but she looked pretty. She then talks about how she's choosing herself. Nice PR answers. But then she was saying how Bella starts praising Huda, saying that Huda support her more than anyone. Girl, get off my screen. After seeing how Huda has terrorized everyone and you have this much of allegiance to her, It's a no for me. All right, so Jeremiah comes out and they play the montage between him, Huda. I'm so happy they left the footage in of her acting like a complete maniac, cursing him out, saying all these things, not only to him, but to Iris and to Amaya. Andy asks Huda a very simple question. Do you believe you overreacted? She's just dodging. It just sucks to have good pancakes. He made an effort. God bless him. Ma'am, that does not answer the question. Ariana asks the other islanders, how do you guys feel about Huda and Jeremiah's relationship? And I'm like, why are we asking? We already know the answer. It was hell on earth. Jeremiah come prepared to defend himself against these love bombing accusations. Do you know the definition of love bombing? It requires intent and manipulation. Listen, Jeremiah did not come to play. He's like, I read books. I'm a nerd, but I got a brain. Of course, when Huda's responding, she's like, And not only was Jeremiah prepared to confront Huda, but when it comes to love bombing, the definition, Ace, does that make sense to you? Ace did say that their relationship was toxic and it was affecting everyone. Jeremiah agrees with him that the relationship was toxic and he was just liking too fast and he doesn't see it as manipulation. Whether if people agree or disagree with him, he at least came and showed ownership that, yeah, the relationship was toxic and he was part of the problem. So I can only respect him for that. He just didn't appreciate Ace calling him a scammer. So Ace has his defense prepared. He said there's a behind the scene moments where Jeremiah was mentioning it's all about getting the money. What's your follower count? It just feels like the connection that they had was just not genuine. I can understand Ace's POV on that, but also the game show. So everybody's here for some type of publicity to bring exposure for whatever they do. Then again, Ace, you came in here with 1 million followers. So overall, Jeremiah has no ill feelings towards Ace and the other guys. Just felt very betrayed at the time by the dumping. They show the unseen footage of the deliberation, whether they should keep Austin or Jeremiah. Let me say that again. They showed an unseen footage on whether they should keep Austin or Jeremiah. The fact that you guys had to choose between Austin and Jeremiah, you guys cannot dig yourself out of this hole. So the takeaways from this footage, Nic actually advocated to keep Jeremiah. Nic actually saw potential in Jeremiah's and Adriana's connection. But the real gag is the main person talking was Taylor. Ace caught all the heat. Meanwhile, Taylor was pulling all the strings. So in conclusion, Jeremiah deserved this moment. And Ace finally admitted that he should have definitely sent Austin home versus Jeremiah. Yep. So Andy's talking about, oh, there's been a lot of reaction on social media, Ace, of you being a ringleader. Can you speak on that? And he mentions his whole diss track. Ace is like, first of all, it was not a diss track. It was a creative way to express myself. Andy asked Charlotte if he was a ringleader. He did mention how Ace would ask people like where their head is at, who they plan on talking to, but not disclose his plans. A little sneaky. Does Ace have leader tendencies? Absolutely. But you can't be a leader if you don't have followers. So they asked Ace if there's anything else he wants to address to the Islanders, and he uses this opportunity to call out Amaya's hypocrisy. Amaya indeed was clowning his height on a TikTok that she did with Alice Cooper promoting the Call Your Daddy podcast. While Ace is talking, Amaya looks blindsided. She looks very irritated. She immediately cut him off. She said, but we spoke about that. I'm like, all right. She makes some excuse saying the clip was chopped up and she tried to get her team to take it down. Ace wasn't having it. He's like, look, you're on the soapbox about anti-bully behavior and don't bully people. He mentions that public shade plus private apology doesn't add up. And then he just talks about how his feelings were hurt. He's been scrutinized in the public, but his feelings are completely valid. He felt a lot of people didn't have his back. Was Ace a menace? Absolutely. For someone that's 22, now 23 years old, he's very intelligent. He's well-spoken. He's talented, but he also has an ego, okay? His ego puts him in situations where he sets himself up to be the villain But two things can be true at the same time. He's also a menace. He knows how to stir the pot. I feel that he has a lot of growing up to do, but his feelings are completely valid. All right, guys, so we've reached the best part of the show. Hurricane Huda. They end up rolling Huda's greatest hits. The verbal abuse, calling everyone but a child of God, calling Jeremiah these awful names. Huda is laughing hysterically at her own montage. And honestly, it's so annoying to see how she finds it so funny when she traumatized everyone, including the viewers. Something's not clicking. Andy high-key has been waiting for this moment, okay? I was going to start asking what it's like watching it back, but I see you found it hysterical. Yeah, I did so much reflection, just being able to laugh at these moments. Now I would handle these things differently. Andy ate her right back up. So you did a month of self-reflection and you're a different person? Okay. Oh, reflection. Okay. I lived for that moment. She just talks about their steps to becoming a better person. There are things I'm not proud of. Andy not letting his foot off the gas. Then he continues to press her. Oh, okay. Well, so what are you not proud of? Andy is calling out her flip-flopping because she likes to go from victim to villain. She just talked about how she wasn't proud of calling people's names, the cursing. So listen, they got the right person on the job asking the right questions because Ariana could not do this. Andy's not done. I know you said in some press interviews you felt isolated from the villa and bullied. As a viewer, I couldn't get it because it seemed like you had an ongoing sisterhood. So what was the bullying that I missed watching the show? Drop a damn mic. Huda then goes on to defense mode, talking about she's seen clip after the villa. Andy's like, what clips? They were just basically talking about how Huda was scary, talking about her toxic behavior. She charged at Iris. It was so scary that Jalen and Pepe were a little apprehensive of whether they should leave Iris alone talking with Huda. I can understand where they were coming from, but did they ever bring this up to her? No. Did they ever share their grievances? No. They would tell her here and there, but the entire house was tired of her and they held a lot back. I think what irked my soul from this segment is just seeing Chelley apologize, saying if I played into the bully narrative, I apologize. But I was just like, ugh, I hated to see that. Chelley continues to vent to herself and say that, listen, I showed up for her. We had a sisterhood. I just don't think there was a time that anyone bullied her. So this question kind of took me by surprise from Ariana. She asks Huda, Olandria has been in the villa with you from day one. She's been a really good friend to you. Why couldn't you just lean on her in those moments where you feel like you weren't supported? Huda, so the Landria, me and Olandria, we, yeah, off guard. She just talks about how they were good friends in the villa. I love her to death. She felt like after the Send Your Business challenge, that one time that Olandria spoke up to her, that one time, she said, I didn't know who to talk to after, but we spoke about that and we moved on. And I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. Here's a deflection. Olandria speaks up to Huda saying that Huda went on the Call Your Daddy interview, made comments talking about bullies. She didn't name any names, but obviously we as viewers who are on the outside, we already see all the vile racist and hate that Chelley and Andrea were getting while they were on the show, saying that she had bullies, but not putting a name to it. Like, you're trying to be coy. No, you're trying to set the girls up. Then we learn that Chelley and Andrea have asked Huda not once, not twice, but 3 times to make a post regarding telling her fans to stop.
No. What? No.
Every time she says bluffing. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Huda's defense was she was dealing with so much. Okay. Were you dealing so much when you were galvanizing around town with Louis? So this was the most heartbreaking moment, seeing Olandria cry because Huda could not even speak up for her regarding the racist attacks both her and Chelley were getting online. From her stands, from her fandom, by the way, I thought we were close. Am I not even worth a post? Did our friendship mean anything? It made me so sad to see that segment when you're discovering that a person that you thought was your friend is really not your friend, someone that you would do something for, you would stand up for them, you speak life into them, you give them encouragement, And when you're down bad, you think that they would be reciprocal? Absolutely not. Another thing is when you think you have an ally and the ally comes out to be self-serving and selfish, and they've been a fake ally alongside you this entire time, that is gut-wrenching. At the end of the day, Huda likes the adjacency to different communities, but when it comes time to be that friend, to be an ally, all of a sudden you just can't because you have a lot going on. So you didn't want to make the post because you noticed Olandria unfollowed you because your friend had to chase you to just show some human decency. This is a double blow for Olandria, and I felt so bad for her. Olandria locked in like a professor. I truly wished that you took that moment to prioritize the racism and the bullying towards me and Chelley, since that was spewed out the most. And I said, good job, Olandria. She chose the right verbiage. So the best reply that Huda came up with is, I was getting hated on. I was getting hated on racially. And I thought to myself, if someone's talking about their experience and you want to be an ally, you don't come into the conversation talking about, yeah, me too. This is the main reason why I'm not falling for the propaganda of her trying to play innocent, like she doesn't know. In that sole moment, all she had to do was be supportive to her friend and just listen. But she took that moment to undermine Olandria's experience by mentioning what she has going on, which we all know it's incomparable to what Chelley and Olandria have been experiencing. Very insensitive. The fact that she couldn't take the time out of her day to help her friends with the vitriol coming from her own fan base, but she can acknowledge Chris getting hate and calling him to smooth things over. Chelley backs her up, saying, I just seen two different people. One day we're talking about, we're going to plan trips, we're going to hang out, I want you guys to see my daughter. Then you come out and you're singing a completely different tune. Ariana asks, where do you ladies go from there? They wish her well from a distance, rightfully so. So the last bit is a heart rate challenge. They play unseen footage. To be honest with you, we did not need to see this footage. I already knew it was bad. We already see Huda go full out on Ace. Her defense is everything was consensual. There's no limitations. Andy asks Chelley whether if she overreacted or do you feel like you were justified. Chelley feels like she's justified. Huda did cross the line when it comes to friendship and sisterhood like she likes to preach. Andy asks Huda, if Chelley done that same routine on Jeremiah when you were together, how would your reaction have been? Instead of answering Andy's question, she says, when Chris was getting danced on, I was cheering them on. Oh my God. Not answering the question. Chris jumps in talking about there's a difference between danced on and licking private parts. Thank you, Chris. They could have just ended the reunion right there. I was good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your services. I appreciate you. Huda was wrong. Chelley was justified. She's not a sister or a friend. That's it. They play one more last montage. Yeah, there's no Love Island here, but here's a compilation of all the friends. The takeaway is you might not always find love, but you'll find some great friends. All right, guys, so that was it. Love Island season 7 is definitely in the books. This was exhausting, polarizing. Just before I go, let me just do a quick fire round of final thoughts. MVPs, Chelley and Olandria, period. Third MVP, Andy Cohen. Jeremiah, I'm proud of him standing up for himself. Chris calling out Huda, not backing down. All right, who were the chops, the flops, the scammers? Flop, Taylor. We didn't need the apology. You already know Iris and Pepe. You already know Bryan and Amaya. Huda's rebrand is a scam. A surprise flop for me was Bella. Your allegiance is a flop. Production, so many things that we could have been talking about. So many things edited out from not only this season, but clearly from this reunion as well. Flop. We're done. If you survived this recap, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. And that's it. Appreciate you for watching. Bye.